Welcome to Tetris History with Garbocan _ Primetime Edition. This is a very, very good story that we have here. It involves a lot of money, lying, cheating, shitty mobile games, licensing. It's the whole shebang. You know, we even have weird videos. I'm gonna take you back to 2002. This is both the year I was born and also when Hank Rogers founds Blue Lava Wireless. Trust me, this is important that we go this far back. And so Blue Lava Wireless is a company made to specialize in mobile games, so mobile Tetris games. It's actually mobile puzzle games. They did a few other like puzzle games that aren't Tetris related, but for the most part, they're centered around Tetris. Also in 2002, the first mobile Tetris game releases. You might be like thinking, wait, but the iPhone came out in 2007. So what were they playing it on? They were playing it on flip phones. Yeah, Blue Lava Wireless was releasing Tetris games for flip phones, basically. And so in 2005, Jamdat Mobile, which is like a huge, not just a mobile publisher, but just like a publisher of video games and stuff in general, acquires Blue Lava for 137 million, which also grants them a 15-year license. This part's important, the 15-year license. And so in 2006, EA acquires Jamdat for $671 million, which at the time is EA's biggest acquisition. So what's kind of interesting, what left me scratching my head, why are they spending this much on mobile gaming, right? Like, why are they spending that much money on getting into mobile? 2007 is when the iPhone releases. So this has to be on some kind of insider knowledge that they acquire Jamdat knowing that like touchscreen mobile devices, there's gonna be a big revolution. I can't see any other reason why you would slam this much money on Jamdat, right? Anyways, in 2008, so the iPhone releases, and then in 2008, the first touchscreen mobile Tetris game released for iOS from EA, which is this game, which you can't see because I'm in front of it, but if I lean my head, yeah, it's that game. In 2011, EA, they replaced that previous Tetris game with EA Tetris, officially known as EA Tetris 2011. And this game is actually really good. The swipe controls feel really nice. The animations and the sound effects and everything feel really, really good about the game. I know people groan when you hear EA, like it's one of the least liked companies, but this game itself is kind of a banger. If you ever played it, like you'll know, it feels very satisfying to play. It's a well-made game. Actually, I would go as far as to say that this is the like modern official guideline Tetris game with the least complaints out of anyone. Yeah, it was a good game. It was a very good game. However, on April 21st, 2020, the game fucking dies. The reason why is because if you remember, Jamdat in 2005, they purchased including the 15-year licensing agreement. And so that expires in 2020. EA doesn't want to renew with Tetris, which leaves the spot open. It was actually announced in like January of 2020 that EA was going to be delisted from the App Store. There was an opening and people were wondering like, okay, EA Tetris was so good, but what's gonna replace it? The answer was N3TWORK Studios. They made this Tetris game and this released like, it was like early February of 2020, I believe. They released Tetris Mobile and it was very bare bones, but noticeably a lot worse than EA Tetris. Now, you might be thinking like, what the heck? Like, it's just Tetris. How do you make it worse, right? Tetris it's a very simple game, but because it's so simple, it comes down to the fine details. When playing this game, this is both my opinion and the common opinion that I hear from other people as well, is that there was just not any attention to detail paid in this game. It just felt like someone tried to do the bare minimum. The animations and sound effects didn't feel as good. The controls felt worse. Both the swipe and the button controls, which they added, like really sucked. They felt horrible, like terrible to use. The game like didn't really have much in it either. Like they had the marathon mode and they had a mode called Royale, but like really no one cared at all. It wasn't very good. There wasn't anything of note. Some people downloaded it, right, just because they look up Tetris and instead of the EA one showing up, now it's the network version, but it was a fairly quiet launch. There wasn't much going on. People in the community didn't really like it, and in fact, a lot of them were like uninstalling it. However, that would all change in July 2020. An update comes out and they announce play every night at 7:30 to win cash prizes. This is where it all begins. They release Tetris Primetime, which is their game show. They have their host, Millen. They're trying to emulate a similar thing as HQ Trivia. HQ Trivia, it's basically like a trivia game show. It was like a daily cash prizes game show, and at its peak, it was getting around like 2.5 million concurrent players. HQ, it ended up failing just because it lost its novelty and it was very, very easy to cheat in. It ended up dying, but the appeal was there, and it was noted by N3TWORK. The thought here is like, okay, well, Tetris is, well, I think it's the second best-selling game behind Minecraft now. You mix that, and you mix the HQ Trivia formula, and we're gonna go to the fucking moon, right? Like, we're gonna get millions of players on this. And so that's the thought behind it. And so this is how the prize breakdown works. This will also be fairly important. They're spending $5,000 each day. Basically, within the top 3, if you place in the top 3, it'll pick randomly between those 3 players, and one of them will win $500. And then within the top 100, it'll roll 10 players from there, and they'll win $100. To anyone who made it through all of the rounds, it would roll for $25. To the people who got into the 3rd round, $5. Anyone who played the 1st round, and then if they died in the 2nd round, then it wouldn't matter, would be eligible for another $5. This prize structure, what they were thinking was probably like, okay, well, we don't want to make it too deterministic, right? And we want to spread it around, but we still want to have some prestige for being at the top. It kind of makes sense, but we'll see the flaws with it later. Anyways, enter me at age 17. Of course, I had to be a part of this. And my account, ttv/garbocan_. You can see here, there's Wumbo Tize, me, and then Combo Storm in 1, 2, and 3. Also, this chat, there are some familiar faces here. There's a Blarg, there's Dormy. Oh yeah, Arisa's right there. Rutabaga, Amy. There's a lot of old names there. You could technically kind of cheat in Primetime because everyone got the same pieces and each time zone played at a different time. I mean, that would be a very tame way of cheating compared to what people were doing, but more on that later. This is all I could find digging through old videos. I found some of my victories here, and you can see here that I won. It shows these 4, but there was another one that I couldn't for the life of me find. I'm literally just looking at random YouTube channels. If we click on one of these, you can see here.
Last week, folks, Garbocan took home $500 after a
Garbocan took home $500. I was fucking winning. I was making some pretty good cash. Bless this person, the Chan clan, for uploading all of these. This guy has like a huge playlist of Tetris Primetime videos, and it was really helpful in finding these. And actually, in fact, this one right here, for some reason, he decided to like have his voice in. He had his mic on, and so we get to see his reaction to this. I'm gonna full screen. This one's good.
And I think you do too. I was getting that vibe. Let's talk about Tetris. Did you know that last week, folks, Garbocan took home $500 in prizes? Thank you. After Friday night's champion mode.
Garbocan again.
Oh my god, T, guess who's here today?
Who? You? Annoying me?
Okay, 1, why you always have to say that to me? I thought we were best friends. 2, Garbocan.
Oh, what is this?
Garbage can, Garbocan.
And tonight, you might win some money too. You might. Tonight.
I love the reaction to it too. Yeah, so that's fucking cinema. Because it was like also trying to be a like show, like a kind of game show. They would also have these videos for the winners. There was not a single one funnier than that one though. That one's probably the best. There were these 4 and then plus 1 more that I couldn't find. So $2,500. There was one of them where I was bad at the game and I didn't make top 3 and I ended up winning $100 instead for a total of $2,600 US. But that number pales in comparison to the biggest winner of Tetris Primetime. There's no one that even comes close to this. And that is everyone's favorite, Wumbo Tize. Bro, this guy was top 3 every single day. Day after day after day after day. And by the way, these screenshots, there's 10 of them on the screen right now. These are just random ones that I cobbled together. Trust me, there's way more than this. He's won $500 at least like 40, 50 times. At least 40 or 50 times. You do the math there, that's what, like $20,000, $30,000? I don't have the actual number. I haven't talked to Wumbo on it. I've only just like been able to estimate, which if you watch the last video, definitively makes Wumbo the #1 Tetris player for pocketing VC money. This guy is fucking taking tons of cash from venture capital. This guy is fucking making out like a bandit. Holy shit. He's heisting this company, man. Yeah, like minimum 20K just fucking playing Primetime every day. And so with all this like cash, where was this money actually coming from? To answer that question, we have to look into N3TWORK Studios. Who is N3TWORK Studios? N3TWORK Studios, back in, I believe like 2015, 2016 or something, they made a game. They're a new studio and they made a game called Legendary Game of Heroes. This game, it's slop. It's like Raid Shadow Legends of Predatory. They like kind of invented the game for being predatory with power level gacha and shit. Before then, like it existed, but it wasn't on that next level. I would go as far as to say that this game is the OG Raid Shadow Legends. And it's not a good game. It's not a good game. If we watch the video, like you'll see, this shit is like fucking slop, dude. It's so bad.
Can you accept the challenge? In a battle of legends, monsters...
It's like, what if Puzzle and Dragon was dog shit? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna skip back. Those numbers there in that clip. Here, hold on. In that clip, these are like already power crept, by the way. You see these numbers? They'll only get bigger. And yeah, also, this video has 200k views, 47 likes, and 3 comments, one of which is a bot, and so it got hidden. That's Legendary Game of Heroes. In fact, it's actually pretty funny. If you look at their YouTube channel, their most viewed video is this K-pop video. So if you look at League of Legends KDA Pop Stars release date. Basically, on November 3rd of 2018, Riot Games made a K-pop group and a K-pop song called Pop Stars, and this is like crazy popular. It has 620 million views. This is November 3rd, 2018. And so Legendary Game of Heroes, seeing that, decides a year later, they're gonna make a K-pop video. Which, by the way, is fucking hilarious. This is the genius that we're working with here at N3TWORK Studios. This game is like crazy successful. I tried doing some digging, and the estimates for how much money they were making per month was around like $5 million a month. So like they were fucking eating well, right? Also, because they made Legendary Game of Heroes, it's super profitable, they're able to get venture capital very easily. And so you can see here in 2019, game company N3TWORK secures $40 million in funding. If we click on this, we can see there's their CEO, Neil Young. Tech and gaming company N3TWORK has secured $40 million in Series C funding to aid the development of first-party games. Another thing to note here is that you can see here their investment is coming from Galaxy Digital, KPCB Holdings for investment partners, Table, Ocean Road, but Blue Planet Software, which in 2020 was renamed to Tetris, but this is basically official Tetris company. It was founded by Hank Rogers, now passed down to Maya Rogers. Basically, Tetris is a part of this 40 million. In some way, they don't actually share what percentage they are. You can see here, N3TWORK has a clear vision to build the next great games company, leveraging the power of a modern media company model. All the ingredients of a company of destiny, a great team, a great structure to build a growing and virtuous cycle around games and communities, and an advanced platform that underpins its ability to serve live games and their audiences. A lot of that is CEO speak, but the gist of it is that they have big ambitions and they are going to be the next big game company, right? How are they going to do that? They're taking a two-pronged approach here. They're attacking from two different angles. So there's a lot to unpack on this slide. There's a lot to go through here. There's Tetris, but they also acquire the rights to Funko Pop. They get the mobile development rights for Funko Pops, and they make Funko Pop Blitz. This game is fucking Candy Crush. You collect multiple of them to level them up. It's like a Clash Royale. But the gameplay, if we scroll to it, oh yeah, of course they have spinning wheels. Look at the animations. It's fucking Candy Crush. It looks exactly the same as Candy Crush. It is one of the most derivative games I've ever seen. Yeah, you can see here that they acquire the rights to Tetris, they acquire the rights to Funko Pop, and this is their strategy. This is how they make the next big games company. How that 40 million is broken up, I'm not entirely sure, right? Like, there's no public information on it. We can make some educated guesses. So the biggest piece of information that we can go off of, this SEC filing. If we look here at this, if you recall from back then, this is why I talked about Jamdat earlier. This is the official SEC filing for the Tetris license for Jamdat, the purchase of the Tetris license. If we scroll down here, you can see here that they paid for 15, is it 15 years? I believe it is 15 years. It just ended early. Or is it 10 years? A license fee in the amount of $7,400,000. Note, this is in 2005, so adjusted for inflation, it's like around plus 20 something percent. But also keep in mind that this was before the iPhone and like the modern smartphone, which means that this number is probably a heck of a lot higher now for mobile licensing. I'm not really the one to ask on estimates here, but like it'll be a significant amount higher than $10 million. They're spending a lot of money on this, right? They're throwing a lot of money at the Tetris license. Speaking of a lot of money, I'm gonna skip back here a little bit and let's talk about the prize money. I didn't receive my money. I was asking around, I was like, hey, Combo Storm, like, did they send you your money? And he's like, oh yeah. I asked Wumbo and I don't think he responded to me. But I asked some other people, like $25, $100, whatever. People were like, oh yeah, I just put in my PayPal email and it worked. However, there were some people that were actually getting stopped and it was asking for additional verification. Those were people who were be like on a VPN or if they were under the age of 18, anything that violated the terms of service for prize payouts. As for me, I got an email from Amy from customer support. Hi TTV/Garbocan_. We're so excited to see you are playing Tetris and congrats on your primetime success. You've had several big wins this week. Like to have a call with you to verify your eligibility to receive prize winnings. Do you have time this week to have a quick meeting with myself, head of customer support, and Ethan, head of the game team? Please respond within 5 days or you'll have to forfeit your prize. I'm like, shit. Because here's the thing. I was 17 years old at the time. I was 17 years old, but I was turning 18 in like 3 months, which I knew wouldn't fly with them, right? I knew if I just like, yo, I'm 18 in 3 months, that makes me ineligible for the prize. It was played while I was 17. I'm not allowed to it. I start panicking. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna lose my 2.6K. Like, I respond. I'm like, yeah, like, sure, I'll meet with you. They said, hey, thanks for the quick reply. Ethan and I are looking forward to meeting you. How about 6:15 p.m. on Monday, July 20th? Now, note that I started asking other people, and I noticed that actually them getting ID'd wasn't an email conversation. It seems that I was the only one getting emailed, and I realized, wait, it's because I have a fucking TTV name, and if I wasn't an idiot, and if I just named myself like Garbo or something, and I didn't try and shill my Twitch, none of this would have been happening. I would have been just fine. And so, I realized, like, shit, wait, they're watching my stream. And so on all of my social media, on everything, I change my age. I start panicking. I start like like fucking Twitter on my like bio on everything. My age is different. I'm 2 years older now. 3 years older. So at the time I was 17. I'm like, no, actually I'm 20 years old. I was like, shit, I'm already on that. So I start imagining a cover story. I'm like, okay, you know, if they ask me, then it's because I was embarrassed because I was like held back 2 years in school and I didn't want anyone to know, and I was like coming up with some weird cover story. I'm like, shit, wait, that's stupid. I was like, I need to lie my way out of this one or I'm losing $2,600. And so the day comes, July 20th, and here's me. And this is the call. We're on video, right? It's me, Amy, and Ethan on the call. These are obviously not pictures of them. These are stock photos. It's roughly what I remember them looking like. We get to the call, and I mean, it's friendly, right? Like, they're like, oh, hey, it's nice to meet you. We on the team love your streams. I'm like, gulp, fuck. They're like, yeah, we're always watching them. I'm like, dude, I'm cooked, man. Like, it's over, bro. And so, anyways, we do the normal formalities, right? Like, they wanted to watch me play, so I shared my screen and I was like playing. Amy was like, hey, could you do a T-spin triple? I'm like, yes, ma'am. I fucking do a T-spin triple, and like, and like Amy and Ethan, they're both impressed. They're like, oh, neat, right? Like, cool. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, while I'm doing that, Amy's like, what's your zodiac sign? For context here, I had an ID ready. It was my brother's passport, which lines up with the age. They knew that if they could catch me off guard on the zodiac sign, then when I show the ID, like, it'll have to match. I'm like, shit, dude. I don't know. I hardly know my real zodiac sign. I'm like, fuck. I'm sitting there and I don't know. Yeah, it's based on month, but because I had to show the ID afterwards, they would catch me on that. And so I'm like, shit, I'm thinking. And then I've realized, okay, I don't know zodiac signs well enough. Not only do I not know them, but They also sometimes cut off on the edge of months, so I have a very high chance of being wrong. And I mean, like, I'm against a white woman, so of course they're gonna know zodiac signs, right? I'm like, shit, dude, I'm fucking cooked, right? And then I realized there's one last card that I can play, okay? There's one final idea, one little thread, one line that maybe if I follow this, I can make my way out of this situation, okay? And that's to insinuate that she's racist. So I proudly say dragon. And she's like, no, I mean like your zodiac sign, like and so she's like, no, like are you like a Cancer, Virgo, Libra, whatever? And I'm like, we don't do that here. It's like I only know Chinese zodiac signs, and she is not buying it at all. And I mean, like, Ethan's a little bit more understanding, but Amy's like, this guy is bullshitting us so hard. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. All right. And then she explains it a little bit more, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm trying to act it, right? I'm like, oh, no, I know what that is, right? Like, I can't quite remember which one mine was, though. I was like, yeah, I do recognize that, but I mean, like, I've only ever known that, like, 2000 is my birth year, so it's the year of the dragon, right? Which it actually is the year of the dragon. I mean, yeah, the bullshit detectors are going off, and I have to show my passport, which is my brother's passport. I had prepared for this. I tried to research and look into ways to decrease my phone's camera quality, and unfortunately I could not find any. Of like a last final idea that I had, I used my old phone. So it was like a Google Nexus 5, which actually didn't have like a terrible camera, right? Like it was legible. Then I also tried to like fingerprint smudge the camera to make it blurrier. Bro, I do not look like my brother. My face and his face are not similar. I try and cook the quality on it. I show the thing. I put the thing over the passport, and they're like, hey, could you actually just like send us a picture? And I'm like, okay, you know what, fine, right? I take the picture, I send it to them. It's low quality, the text is still kind of legible, and that's really not my face. And like, it's an older picture, right? So maybe there's some leeway, but like, no, it's it's not happening. Our email conversation goes a little bit later. They say like, hey, TTV Garbocan, we tried processing your ID and it didn't go through. I think it's because I cooked the quality. And so they said like, hey, could you send another one? I'm like, fuck, you know, I send the like another like cooked quality picture. I'm just trying to like stall to see what happens. Then they're like, okay, this isn't working, and then they send me a link, and this link is to a website called Jumio, which is like a professional biometrics ID website, right? And they're like, hey, just like process yourself through this like Jumio thing, and that'll solve all the problems. And I'm like, fuck, I'm not beating this. And so I try, it denies me. I try, it denies me. At some point, it's like, fuck, I just have to eat the loss. And so tragically, I go minus $2,600. Well, my brother could beat it, but then they'll send the thing to Tetris Primetime for like the results, and then they'll realize that it's like not me at all. I lose all of the money, and I don't even think it goes to anyone else. It just goes back into Tetris Primetime's pockets. From there, I stop playing, right? It's like, fuck. I tried playing 1 week, I got top 3, and like there was this little icon next to me saying like, this player is not eligible to earn rewards. They like flagged it on my account. A few other people who got ID'd also lost their money, but they never had to go through a fucking video call with them where they get interrogated on zodiac signs and shit. So like, I mean, it was just unfortunate. You know, about a week later, I start hearing some rumors and then some actual first-hand accounts. Now, within the people that I was like not close to, but like I knew, the people kind of in my like inner circle, I say that like I sound like a fucking cult leader, dude. But I start hearing like, hey, you can cheat. Now, the range of cheating, like obviously at some point everyone was using keyboards. That's not really cheating. People were using emulators, people were like fucking hooking up keyboards. They were doing all sorts of things. But the type of cheating that I caught wind of was Tetris Primetime was hosted in 16 different countries, and every country contributes to the same leaderboard. At the end of the final time zone, the winners are drawn, which means that if you have multiple instances of blue stacks, okay, and you VPN to different countries, entries, you can have a total of 7 different attempts and 7 different accounts on the leaderboard at once. You can see here, these are the cities that the time zones are based in. So LA, New York, London, Berlin, Moscow, Perth, and Auckland. These were the 7. But if you had the time to do it, right, you could go all around the world and get 7 entries. And then if you have 7 entries in the top 100, let's say, which if you're like a decent Tetris player, you'd be able to pull off, right? You would farm on each attempt a 10% chance at $100. Your expected value is fucking crazy. Like, you're just making 70 bucks a day off of this shit if you're consistent on it. There were a few people who banded together and abused it to the point where if you were to look at the leaderboards at the time, any name that you didn't recognize as a like known Tetris player or in the Tetris community was one of the like 4 people that was multi-accounting super hard. Okay. And like, I'm not gonna name any names. Like, this is a those who know moment. Like, the people who know just don't say anything about who they were, but like, and I never got in on this multi-accounting thing, but I realized like, wait, I could just make another account. And so I did just that. You can see here, living on a prayer. And the reason I chose this name is because I had thought, okay, well, I wonder if they ID some people, but not everyone. I have to make a name that sounds like a boomer. And so I was like, what would a boomer name themselves? And so I named myself Living on a Prayer. You know what's crazy? It fucking worked. I won my first $500. I was like, okay, sure. Put in the PayPal account. And then suddenly, plus 500. No questions asked. I'm like, shit, this works easily. I'm not gonna say how much I made, right? I'm not gonna say how many times Living on a Prayer won the 500. I made my cash. I was able to get on the opportunity to the point where like I'm not sad about that 2.6 anymore. And actually, another funny note about Living on a Prayer actually funded Two Wine. This website, which is now ran by Swing and a few other people, was originally it was developed by Nuke, and the puzzles and the design and stuff were made by me, and some of them were by Octocali. This site wouldn't exist without Tetris Primetime. Also, you can see at the bottom here, it went up to $10,000 in prizes, so they didn't actually change the prizes at the top. They made it so like more people were winning $1, like a significant amount more people were winning $1 from those lower tiers, which like makes sense considering that they were basically just donating like a large chunk of money, like thousands and thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to a single person, which is fucking Wumbo, right? Or like Combo Storm or Jed or Living on a Prayer. And I'm not sure if they ever caught on to the fact that like 40% of the top 100 was just like the same 4 people multi-accounting really, really hard. But yeah, they didn't add more prizes to the top, which even then, they were still losing a shit ton of money. They were still like hemorrhaging money. They had some like decent player counts. At their peak, they were getting around like 12K. You can see actually these images were from around their peak. And those were concurrent during a single time zone. So 4,000 players in one time zone, 5,000 players, 2,000 players. Adding all the different time zones each day. At their peak, I believe they were getting around like, I want to say 30,000-ish players, which is like not bad, but maybe not like HQ trivia levels like they wanted. This is supposed to be HQ trivia mixed with the best-selling game, or the second best-selling game of all time, Curse You Minecraft. They keep pushing, they keep pushing, they keep pushing, but eventually they have to scale back. So they had mentioned that they were going to spend $1 million annually, right? And they were already through most of that. Some budget cuts were in order. So you can see here, they replaced Millen, their previous host, with Denise Jones, who was significantly less liked, was just not really as charismatic. They also, you'll notice, the prize pool went from 10,000 to 1,000. They slashed 90% of the prizes. Does anyone have the gen clip? They scale back hard. At first it was like, oh, while Millen is away, have Denise. At first it was like, oh, subbing in for Millen, but eventually like Millen was phased out entirely. Let's see this clip.
Shut up, Denise. You think this is a joke? It might be a joke to you, Denise. But it isn't to me. Who are you shouting at? I'm right here. I'm right here. You don't have to shout at me. High speeds! And... sounds like a lot!
Holy
Like,
fuck, dude.
This, come on. fuck you, Denise. I want Millen. And
Holy fuck, dude. This clip. This clip, bro. Holy shit, dude. They start scaling back, and eventually they decide they're just closing Primetime entirely at around the start of 2021. So this is like, I believe like February or March 2021. They put the kibosh on all of it. They decide no more Primetime. This is like a waste of money. It all dies. Later in 2021, Play Studios secures exclusive rights to the Tetris franchise for mobile devices. They sell the Tetris license that they got to another studio, Play Studios. This game that was supposed to be like their ticket to being the next big game, the next great game studio, in the words of Neil Young, has now been sold. If that wasn't already bad enough, they also sold Funko Pop Blitz. In the span of 1 year, they've gone back on like basically every single commitment that they set out for. All of these big plans, they fucking sold it too. They sell it to Eastside Games, and now Funko Pop is gone. I wonder if they profited on that. Oh, absolutely fucking not. No, absolutely not. They did not profit on any of this shit. They were burning that much money on Tetris Primetime, and they were getting a lot less players than like HQ Trivia on such a small budget. In 2022, Forte acquires N3TWORK. If we look at Forte, they are a blockchain game studio. Make note that this was in like early 2022, which is like peak NFT craze, right? This is peak NFT, peak crypto. They get acquired by a blockchain company, and they release Legendary Heroes Unchained, the much awaited sequel that everyone's been asking for. Legendary Heroes Unchained, the future of gaming with legendary ecosystem. Because yeah, this game needed NFTs. If we look at their YouTube channel, you can see here, oh wow, Legendary Heroes Unchained announcement trailer, 30 seconds. It has 181k views. There's no comments. And 59 likes. In fact, I will be the first comment. Hype!
What price?
Let's watch this.
Gods and heroes follow your banner, and Corellis is yours to conquer. Do you have the will to take it?
A legendary play-to-own RPG.
When fortune comes calling, will you answer? Legendary Heroes Unchained. Own your legend.
So, yeah, absolute fucking cinema. In the videos that aren't, like, being manipulated in some way, you can see here, LHU gameplay has 33 views, bro. This looks like a stake.com slot machine, bro. Does anyone know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'd be watching XQC play this or some shit. Our Vision. Holy shit, dude, it's still getting updates. I guess because, yeah, they're being funded by venture capital, but like, dude, there's no way this is making any money, dude. As for Play Studios, so you might be thinking like, hey, Play Studios, maybe mobile Tetris is in better hands now. Like, we don't like N3TWORK. Then you look at Play Studios, the renowned developer behind Pop Slots, Konami Slots, My Vegas Slots, and My Vegas Blackjack. The family of participating My VIP apps grows larger every day. What My VIP is, you play the game for X amount of time, and then you get points. And then if you accrue like 3 years worth of points, you can get a $5 Google Play gift card. If you look at what they've done to mobile Tetris, it's exactly that. My VIP. What you do, you have a target, you complete the target, and then each day you get points. However, the thing is, if you don't make it in time, so let's say you have to score like this many points in 50 pieces, and then you run out of pieces, you can either watch an ad or you pay your Tetris coins, get like 10 more pieces. That's kind of the scheme that they're playing at here. And obviously they have like built-in ads and all that stuff, and they make way more money than the like $5 Amazon gift card that they give out like 100th user that is crazy enough to play this game for that long. This game is not in better hands. It's actually in arguably worse hands than N3TWORK, which is kind of crazy. And the last thing that I'll end off on Where Are They Now, is the mobile Tetris TikTok. So this account was handed off from N3TWORK to Play Studios, and you can see they're really going hard.
I've been married a long time ago. What do you come from? What year to go? What do you come from? Bacalado.
This has 96 likes. And in fact, if you look at this account, like, bro, they're so cooked, man. Like, you look at this and it's like... Play Studios is completely cooked. How long does Play Studios have exclusivity on Tetris? I'm glad you asked. So the original term that Network secured was, I believe, 15 years, from 2020 to 2035. However, Play Studios secures exclusive 5-year extension to iconic Tetris mobile license. They apparently got another extension of 5 years. Then what we had originally assumed was a 15-year license. It says for up to 8 years total. So actually, if we do the math here, Network had it for 1 year. There was supposedly 5 years remaining that they sold to Play Studios, 3 years remaining, and then plus 5 for 8. I'm not entirely sure. If it's 8 years after that, then it would be like 2030. I don't think it's gonna get any better than EA. It peaked in EA. It's only gonna be downhill from there. That's the end of my presentation, and that's the end of this episode of Tetris History. This presentation, there's a bit more that happened in the story, but this is like the general gist of Tetris Primetime. N3TWORK Studios in itself is like a whole nother rabbit hole. If you want to look into it more, feel free to just Google around. It's super fun seeing, like, especially interviews with Neil Young, where he talks a very, very like ambitious game. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, yeah, thank you for watching. Join my Discord server, play Tetrio, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.